So welcome, Belinda.
Thanks, Karen. How you going?
I'm fantastic. How are you going? Rushed in
Good.
from the milking the cows and you flat out.
Busy dairy, lots of carbs, busy school run this morning as well. So I'm yeah, definitely feeling a little bit rushed, but that's okay.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'll just rush you even further
Yeah,
and we'll talk
thanks.
about the project. so so you are one of five. And so this we're going to today be talking about the Really Serious Project. And I've just done an intro, as you heard, that's it is a serious problem for people, and it's really fantastic that you're tackling this. But you're part of GCLP, so that's a 1 year program, and you have to do a community project. And I just want to read this out before you tell us all about it. This is amazing. It's fantastic. The five people are an engineer, makeup artist, dairy farmer, and a land manager, and a forester turned planner. So it's not a bunch of people who are disability advocates or who have come from a disability background. This is a bunch of people who have decided that this is a fantastic community project, and I was going to say needs to get some legs, but we'll say needs to get some wheels and get it moving. So
Yes.
so tell us about, well, I don't know, tell us about you five people and why you chose this project and that kind of stuff.
We do have the five of us, and I'm not sure whether you are aware. Sorry, my computer's beeping at me now. I'm not sure whether you're aware that we have got one person in our syndicate who has a child with cerebral palsy and is in a wheelchair. So she deals with the continuous struggle of, can I get in this shop? Do I have to leave my son in the wheelchair on the nature strip? And is heavily on social media to find the shops that she is able to get into, places that are disability friendly. Have they got a swing? Have they got a toilet? And we all came together on our first meeting for Gippsland Community Leadership Program, all of us flailing about thinking, what project are we going to do? And we all had slightly different ideas. And to be quite honest, I don't think there was any of us that had a particular idea that they really wanted to scream from the rooftops, but
Yeah.
we all had legs and wanted to really get passionate for someone else.
Yeah.
And so the idea came to the table about this recognisable sticker that we could put on shop fronts based on whether shop fronts not complied but were accessibility friendly. So accessibility not just for wheelchairs but for prams, for wheelie walkers.
Yeah.
And it's just such a wonderful thing. We all had this lightning bolt
Yeah.
moment where we all thought, yep, this is absolutely what we're going to do. And it took us only 2 sessions to nail down what we were doing, how we were going to roll it out, who was doing what, when we were having our meetings, and it's just taken off from there. It's been a really wonderful journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Jessica Evans is the one with her son Carter, who's in a
Yes,
wheelchair and who is a
yes.
twin. And the twin, can do all the accessible things, but poor Carter can't. And do you want to give a shout out before we get into all of that? Do you want to give a shout out to the others so that they get their name out there, because they are an integral part of this team.
Yeah, we've got Renee Hutchison, and we've got Andrew Stanton, Joshua Wilhelm, of course, Jessica Evans, and myself. And we are, as you mentioned before, all from completely different backgrounds,
Yeah.
doing completely different roles in our lives. And it's just a beautiful thing. We've all come together and we've landed
Yeah.
on the one idea, and everybody just wants to push forward and be as helpful as they can and really make a difference for people that are struggling with accessibility, whether they're in a wheelchair or others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting around the table and you're kind of tossing up these ideas, and then Jess sort of put her stuff forward, and said, "Well, this is something that I deal with." Were the rest of you already aware of those issues, or did you sort of think, "Holy hell, never even thought of that"?
It is funny that you say that, Karen, because we, to me, and to completely throw my vulnerabilities out on the table, to me, what made a disability friendly toilet or an accessibility friendly toilet was a wider open space with a handrail.
Yep.
That is absolutely not the case. How ignorant am I? Absolutely got my head in the sand and just ran through a few things that she requires when she goes out, and talked about a couple of new parks that have been put up in Gippsland,
Yeah.
and they've had all this money thrown at them and all this money spent on these wonderful new facilities, but they're not accessibility friendly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we weren't. I was not aware. The other thing about this GCLP program is that none of us really knew who each other were.
Yes.
So I wasn't um, in the social zone of Jess that much, and I was aware that she had Carter, but I didn't know that he was a twin, and I didn't know that he had also got a little sister.
Yeah.
So the things that Jess feels are so obvious to everybody else aren't. So getting
Mm.
this story out there is really so beneficial, and I really hope that they're able to reap the rewards of the hard work that we've put in around Gippsland with these recognisable stickers.
Yeah, I love it. Just go back before we talk about the stickers, go back to the disability toilet because I know you kind of like doing a little bit of self-punishment there. Oh my God, I had my head in the sand. I didn't know all this and stuff.
I'm not the only one, I can
No,
admit that. I'm not the
I
only
know.
one.
That's what I'm about to say. There'll be a ton of people out there that will go wide door, handle. This is a disability
Mhm,
toilet. So
mhm.
for the people listening, because there's going to be a stack of people listening going, well, that's what I thought too. Like what makes up a good disability toilet, a good accessible toilet?
There are various things depending on the requirements and the type of chair that the person using it might have. So for me, the biggest thing that I didn't think about was what happens if you've got a 20-kilo child in a 100-kilo wheelchair that doesn't actually have um, functioning or have, I guess, the use of their bowels. They don't have the control over their bowels, and they're wearing nappies.
Yeah.
How do you lift that person in and out every day
Yeah.
without a lift? Why
Yeah.
don't we have a special key for a special toilet like we have a special key for an accessibility swing?
Yeah.
And these are all ideas, they're much bigger than us, but I think this is a great start.
Mm. I know when I used to teach Cert 4 disability and diploma of disability. So, teaching people to work with people with disabilities. And I always used to think, in 20 years, I'm going to be ashamed of this. I'm almost going to be embarrassed. Like, why should we have to teach people to work with people with disabilities? Why don't we just treat people the same? But the problem is that yes, we can think that we're treating people the same, and just like the toilet situation. But if we're not living it, we actually don't know. So we do need people to be raising awareness
Absolutely.
and back to the toilet. There was I also used to work for an organisation where we would run a social group every Friday and take people with disabilities out to places. And there was one person in a wheelchair, actually two people in a wheelchair, that exactly that. We had to manoeuvre them from a wheelchair to a toilet. And even just the wide door is not enough because you've got to be able to get the wheelchair in next to the toilet, so that it's a move. And it's actually quite a lot that I think people really don't think about. When you're thinking about kids in a wheelchair, you can go, well, you know what, they're kids, I'm an adult, I can pick them up and I can move them. But
They're not going to be kids
those
forever.
that's right. Those disabilities aren't going to disappear when they're adults.
That's
And I
right.
think that and I think it's okay to if people are not quite aware of what goes on, but I think we need to say, oh, I didn't realize that, but it's my duty, it's my responsibility as a citizen, to learn more or to be open-minded, when someone tells me something that I didn't realize that I now need to
Absolutely.
do. Now I know, now I need to do better.
And
Dawn.
thinking about the way that Jess has to operate her life is,
Yeah.
and she is amazing. It's absolutely mind blowing the amount of work that she A puts in,
Yeah.
but seemingly B needs to put in before she goes on an outing.
Yeah.
So they head out to Richmond to go to the football because a wonderful team have asked Carter to be a part of their game. Now they ring the hotel. Are you accessibility friendly? Yes, we are. We've got a lift.
Yep.
But what they didn't tell her was that there are 5 steps to get to the lift.
Oh my God. No.
And I think, they haven't done that maliciously.
No.
They just don't, they're just not thinking in that space. So yeah, you're right. It is really important to be able to spruik this message and
Yeah.
help everybody get on the same page.
Yeah. And a lot of the places you're like Jess is in Warrigal, and you're sort of targeting a lot of shops, Warrigal and other towns. But
Mhm.
Warrigal is one of those old towns, and like there's a lot of it was built 100 years ago, all those shops, and there's got this little step, nearly all of them.
Yes.
All the old
Yes.
shops have got this little step up.
Yes.
And unless the shop owners have put a little ramp there or have a ramp inside or whatever, it's really hard to get in. And that's another thing too, is that sometimes you've got to go into the shop and ask, do you have a
Yes,
ramp so I can put out the front? And
yes.
then they say, hang on, I'm just serving someone. So you're sort of left out there for 10 minutes and then they bring it out, And so if any shops are listening and you've got a little step, just get a little ramp built and put the little ramp out the front straight up, just first thing in the morning, put it out, bring it back in at night. I know it's not always that easy, but these are the little things that people can do. So tell us about the project. So what's the aim of it and how does it work? And
I just want to go back to talking about
yeah,
those shops, Karen.
yeah,
You are right. Some of them are so old and they're heritage listed buildings.
yeah,
So nothing can be done to adapt the shop front. And there are a couple of shops that we've been to in the last couple of weeks that have got, one of them has a ramp that she brings out every time there's someone that can't get up the step. And then there's another business that have got the footpath space. They have a movable ramp, but it stays there most of the time.
yeah,
And it just absolutely makes such a difference. Sorry, so much difference. So the aim of our project is to be creating awareness, and we didn't want to take the conventional approach. We're not the rule makers. We're
yeah,
not whacking. We're not giving people a whack if they don't comply. We just want to create awareness. We've had somebody make up a recognisable sticker for us that we can pop on shop windows to say that whether it's a back door entry, whether they've got a ramp, whether they've got someone that comes out and will service your needs on the footpath. It is to show that this place is safe to knock on the window or give a shout out, and they will come out and be open to whatever your needs are and be able to give you a hand.
Oh, I love that. Do you want to show that sticker? Because some people might watch this on, on a video. So have you got that there? So
I do.
the Wheelie Series project, which it's a green sticker with a black circle around it and white writing. I might actually put that logo up on the in the show notes as well, so that people can actually see that. So that'll be on my website, but I'll put that up.
Sounds
So
great.
thank you.
And the principle of the universal design of this one is, as we were saying before, not just for wheelchairs, for wheelie walkers, for prams, for anyone who's got any accessibility issues that wants a friendly face to be able to help them come in the shop.
Yeah, yeah. I like that, the Wheelie Series project or Wheelie.
Well, we wanted to take a bit of a spin on the name, I guess, because as I said before, we're not the compliance makers. We don't have checklists. We're not the ramp police. We're not going to give people a whack if they couldn't comply.
Yeah.
We're not. It's not a joke, but we want people to know that we're here. But we certainly aren't going to give you a whack if you can't comply.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that because I think that if people feel like they're being punished, they get their back up and they get a bit, and then the people with the disabilities lose. It's the whole feeling of I'm not important. Like my mum has just recently, she'll kill me if she ever listens to this. She never listens to my podcast. I don't even think she knows I do a podcast. But anyway, she's just recently using a walker, and the resistance to do that, because she's had a problem with one of her legs, and the resistance. I'm not using a walker, I'm not old. She's in her 80s, but that's okay. She can still say she's not old. I love her for that. And I'm not using a walker, but what I'm hearing her say now is, what's the bloody point? You can't get into bloody shops, you can't bloody move around the bloody aisles. And she's quite grumpy about using this walker, and I don't blame her, because if I got to that point, well, maybe when I get to that point, I'll be just as bloody grumpy. So attached to that, and all these other people who are in wheelchairs and mums with prams and God knows what, there is a feeling. And whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. It's your perception of it, is I'm not important. Nobody bloody cares about me. Like I'm just left out. And we talk a lot about inclusion and exclusion and that kind of stuff. And it's some people might think that it's not a big an issue, but when somebody does feel left out, or when they don't feel included, or they don't feel like they can be part of a tribe or part of something, it actually has a massive impact on your mental health and your well-being. So I love what you're doing. I think
it's thinking about thinking about the shops and not wanting to focus too much on this part of it, but there is a percentage of sales being missed as well. So there
Yeah.
are opportunities in this for the businesses in becoming accessibility friendly, because word of mouth is very powerful.
Yeah.
Word will
Oh,
travel, and there are these stickers going up everywhere. Our inbox has been blowing up with people wanting to get on board, asking if we can help them with doing an audit to find out how they could be more accessibility friendly, which, of course, as I said, we're not the rule makers, but
mm,
we now have the connections to be able to put these businesses in touch with the people asking us to help them out. So there's been
wow.
more than just the one thing achieved in this. It's been really nice to link different people with services to be able to move forward on that now that they can see that, oh, hang on, we're actually not really that accessibility friendly.
Mm.
And
And
seeing
like,
these stories is just, it's, yeah, watching everyone grow and move forward is very heartwarming.
yeah, absolutely it is. And like we say at the start, you might not even know you're not disability friendly. You might not even realize that, it's word
Correct.
does travel. I remember I used to teach, as I said, I used to teach Cert 4 and whatever. And we had this one business, and not we, Warrigal had this one business who was actually accessible. You actually could get in. There wasn't much room in the aisles, but she used to say, I'm going to say it, and this is not coming from my mouth, I'm paraphrasing. She used to say to people, you can come in, but the spastic can't. And she used to say that to people and make a person with disability stay out the front. Now, to use that language for a start, and to actually say that to parents, to say that to support workers just wanting to shop with a person, and word does travel. People often labeled that person as a bitch, and all other words, like, I'm not going into that bitch's shop, that sort of stuff. And
Mm-hmm,
that's
mm-hmm.
on the other side of it. That's not the word about traveling, about all the good stuff happening, but you just can't. I'll never forget that. Well, I'll never forget that woman.
It's
I'll
really
never
stuck
forget.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget the ill feeling and the resentment, and the the way people used to feel. They just felt like they were worthless mud, just being spoken to like that. So when you got the opposite happening, and people are going, hey, you're welcome here. Anyone can come in here. We're doing our best. It might not be the best. Like we still might not have it right, but we're trying. That says you matter. That says you're just as valuable as everybody else. And well, I don't think people with disabilities are less valuable anyway. And I don't even know why people think that, or even that's not even shouldn't even exist, that kind of
We've all
thing.
got something to offer for sure.
And you know what? We've all got a disability. When you actually think about it, we none of us are bloody right. None of us are built right. It's. But now the other thing I want to ask too is to talk about is also when I taught, we used to get the
Sorry.
students. You're right. We used to get the students to go around the town in a wheelchair. So we used to get people to push each other around in a wheelchair.
Sorry.
You're right. And it was phenomenal that people used to say, I can't see. I can't see the road. I'm just sitting on the side of the path and I'm about to get hit by a car, because sitting in a wheelchair I can't see because of the plants that the Shire put in.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get into buildings. I couldn't push the door open. The doors were too heavy, and that was a real eye opener. And I don't think that you really know until you're in that space. And you told me before we got on here, and I'm dying to hear how this went, about a wheelchair basketball game that you played with GCLP. So how did that go? Like, what was that? What were the outcomes of that and the eye-opening bits?
So as part of our GCLP residential down at Phillip Island, just last week actually, one of our one of the cohort, his name's Gene, organised a wheelchair basketball game for us. And I thought, here's me, ignorant again, and I thought we were going to watch a basketball game. And we're talking about it, and I said, hang on a minute, are we actually playing this wheelchair game? And everyone looks around, and I wasn't the only one. I was just the only one, let's go with brave enough to ask the
Yeah.
question. So we arrive, and we have a little practice in these sports wheelchairs, and It was absolutely the ultimate leveler.
Yep.
What a fantastic game to play, to see how it feels. And yeah, it was the ultimate leveler. That's about all I can say about it. It was really fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone had a great time, but completely humbled by the fact that there are people in these situations every day that are much better at basketball than us because they're used to it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was a real eye opener for everybody. And as I said, not only did we enjoy it, but it was really humbling to feel how other people feel in those situations. And we were able to, and I can say lucky enough to get out of those chairs and walk away and say, well, that was a great experience, but that's people's lives.
Yep. Yep.
Really happy that wheelchair basketball games exist, though.
Yeah. Oh, I've watched them play, and I just think, wow, I can't even play. I can't even play that well with legs. It's just they're just incredible. A friend of mine plays, and I just think he's reached state level, and it blows me away. And I'll tell you what is great is that I may be in a wheelchair, but it's not going to stop me. It's not going to stop
Yeah.
me, doing what I love, and I think that's so important. So how do the businesses and organizations or whatever they want, how do they get these stickers? Are they finding, so they're finding you on Facebook and messaging you, and you're
Yeah.
delivering them, or
Yeah, finding us on Facebook and messaging us. And as I said before, the inbox is blowing up with people asking for assistance and wanting to be a part of it. We have been doing walks. We've been walking the beat. I think we've got Warragul, Yarragon, and Moe and Traff at the moment. Warragul's the heaviest hit so far, which is fantastic because it's also the hilliest and the hardest to get around.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, certainly getting in touch with us on our socials is a really good way to become involved.
yeah. And so that's the Really Serious Project on Facebook. I haven't finished asking you questions yet. I just want to make sure people know where to get this from. And I think if I were to say, like, now, because you started the project in February, March, something like that, or you started planning it or decided
Yes.
on it. So
Yes.
we're several months in, maybe nearly 6 months in, and how do you think each of you has changed as a person because of doing this project?
Oh, I'm not sure if I have the answers. Um, we are all so much more aware, and it's able to slide into our everyday lives unconsciously now. It's like creating awareness has become second nature, I would say, to all of us.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's a really nice feeling to see how much we've all grown in that space.
yeah,
And you know, Jess is here to help us along if we've ever got any questions
yeah,
to do in that space. And, she says nobody comes out of hospital after they've had a baby wishing that they had a child in a wheelchair.
yep,
Um, and to think that this is her daily life, and if we can make a difference, that'd be fantastic. We just want to, we want people in wheelchairs or with accessibility issues to see that Gippsland is a safe and supportive place
yeah, yeah.
to be.
And how good would it be if you did this and it became known, and other areas were like, oh my God, this thing they did in Gippsland's fantastic. Or people visiting Gippsland going, well, what are all these stickers? What are all these stickers on these?
Yes,
And then go, we should do that. We should do that back in Ballarat, or we should do that
yes.
in our town, and that kind of stuff. So you may have started a really
And
lovely spreading phenomenon.
And as you can see, it's not it's not limited to areas. So if we could find,
Yeah, yeah,
or if someone reaches out, we've had a couple of people reach out so far, but if we can find the right company to partner with and they take off with this, that's our ultimate goal. That would be absolutely fantastic.
yeah.
Watch this space as far as that's concerned, though. Yeah, spreading the positive word and hoping that someone jumps on board with us and wants to make it bigger and better.
Yeah, how fantastic.
Yeah.
What differences have you seen, like with when people take the sticker, there will be some of those places that are not already disability friendly, accessibility friendly. So when you said, people ask you to come in and do an audit and that kind of stuff, what changes are they making? Like, what are the small things that, well, small or big things they're doing to make it more accessible?
We've got one person has actually, or one business has actually gone to the nth degree, and they haven't started yet, but their ultimate goal is to change their swing open door to electric doors
Yeah,
that have
yeah,
got a sensor so that, any sort of shape of person can come in. They also will have a small ramp entering their shop. We've had someone in particular in Warrigal put in a movable ramp, as I was saying before, but that gets moved
yeah,
when they see fit, when they need to. Um, we need a little bit of a wider space to be able to get through, whether that's at the front of the shop or at the back of the shop. And thinking about inside the shop, if you've got clothing racks or if you've got aisles that need to be, zoomed down, to make sure that they're wide enough to fit through. So making sure the measurements have been done so that people with accessibility issues can get through.
yeah,
It doesn't need that, the whole shop doesn't need to be like that, but there needs to be a space to be able to get in, turn around, and be able to pop back out again. So you can
yeah,
get in, be a part of whatever it is that you're entering, get the
yeah.
help that you need, and be able to get out of there again safely.
Yeah. Do you know off the top of your head what the width would be? I mean, and you may not. Like, no, you don't. No, but that would be fantastic to know, just for people to. But even if you just even sat you know, a chair and added a foot either side, just in an aisle, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
here with a foot either side.
yeah,
Maybe even that's a good guide for people. Just take your.
yeah. There's a there will be a standardized guide there, but it is. Have you got a child in a wheelchair? Is it an adult in a wheelchair? Is it a
Yeah,
wheelchair with extra things on the back? There's a couple of different things to think
yeah,
about, but
yeah,
certainly the first step is having a look around, jumping online,
yeah.
and measuring up yourselves and seeing how you go with that.
Have you had any resistance?
No, haven't had any resistance. Have had a couple of stores that are heritage listed that have said yes, we want to, but we can't.
Mm.
And we've offered some options as to what they can do, and now that's up to them to take that on board and do with that what they want to, but no resistance. No, I mean, how can you resist such a positive message?
No, there are some the bitchy bloody people in the world.
Well, this is also really why it's so nice to not be the rule enforcers. We're spreading
Yeah,
the good word. We're not giving a whack for ill compliance.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just out there spreading the word.
Yeah, I think that's good. And like we said at the very first when we started, it doesn't mean you're malicious if you haven't done it. You just,
That's
yeah.
right.
How do you know if you don't know? And
That's right.
that's
Exactly.
you
You
don't
don't
know
know
what
what you don't
exists
know.
if you don't know what you don't know. Absolutely, exactly. So how many do you reckon? So you got a ton of stickers printed up. How
Yes.
many do you reckon you've sent out? Rough.
Oh, look, in the hundreds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know that we're at the point where we need to get new stickers made up as yet, but I don't think we'll be far from that mark of having to get new stickers made up, which is fantastic because we're sponsored to get these stickers because everyone wants to jump on board.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Even a few hundred, like that's, even if you said 10, like I would expect it to be
Yeah,
greater.
yeah.
But
Yep.
that's 10 shops or 10 places that people can now access where they couldn't. But
Yep.
hundreds, that is fantastic. I haven't been to Warrigal in a couple of months, but I'm dying to, next time I'm up, I'm dying to walk around and have a look at the stickers, and Yarrigan, Traff, Moe. I mean, there's so many. My God, when you think about all the towns in Gippsland, it's you will have to get another 10,000 printed, I reckon,
When
on the shops.
talking about these shops having these stickers, it's just a really nice moment to be able to think about Coffee Vibes by Knoxbrook and
Yeah,
the Cassidy crew and the companies that are providing inclusive and supportive workplaces in our community. That it's a really special thing that they're doing to be able to help people with all sorts of different difficulties or accessibility issues
yeah.
work within the community and provide a service for people like you and I to
Mm,
be able to go in and get our coffee, or go and clothes shopping, all those types of things. It's
Yeah,
fantastic that there's opportunities out there as well.
yeah. I don't see. Yeah, I don't see why a person with disability can't be doing all that kind of stuff. Do you know? It's the non-disabled people's minds that go, oh no, they wouldn't be any good at that. But my God, there are so many businesses run by people with disabilities. That are doing a phenomenal bloody job. And oh, I I just don't understand why we can't be inclusive. I just don't understand it, because every single person, we're all the same. Like, just because we're different on the outside or we got different abilities, I always call it diffabilities with an F, because
Abilities.
we all are. Like,
It makes
like,
sense.
look at it. Look, I wear glasses. I can't see shit without them. I can't see anything. So, how many of us are walking out there with glasses? Do you know? And we are disabled because we actually can't see properly if we don't have them. But we don't have that issue. Like, we can still go into somewhere and still get our way around. And just the fact that you're in a wheelchair and have this mobility issue should not prevent you from being, you know,
Absolutely not. And hopefully, this is also opening up people's hearts and minds to the ability to have people in wheelchairs or with any sort of difficulties to be able to come in and work in their workplace.
yeah. And how
Create
nice to
space.
have them in your business as well, because then it just
Absolutely.
broadens you. It grows you as a human being to just have so many different diverse people in your sphere every single day. I actually think that it there's a lot more kids at school with disabilities now in the mainstream schools, and a lot of their friends are not noticing the difference. They're just kind of like, well, he's just my friend. That kind of stuff.
Yep. It's
And
just black and white.
it
Yep.
is, and I wonder how. I don't wonder how. I imagine this is going to be the case, and I dearly hope I'm right. Is that in 20 years' time, we won't have to be running around trying to make accessible places, because people will already have a friend who's in a wheelchair, or someone with disabilities. So, well, gee, my mate Jordan, my mate Carter couldn't get in here. I'm not buying that shop. Or I'm not. Hang on,
Yeah.
if my friend Carter comes, I want him to be able to come in. So I really hope that in 20 years we're going to be better at it, but we might as well start now. And I just freaking love what you're doing. I absolutely, absolutely love it. And I think we shouldn't have to do it, but we do have to do it. And it's because you don't know what you don't know. So I love what you do. How are you going to maintain this? So GCLP's for a year. And
Correct.
then you all go your separate ways, and I hope you don't. Like, I hope this little group, not only, well, the past years, all the whole year, all remain close. And
Yep.
particularly the syndicates, your team of 5. But once you finish this year, you're not obligated to keep going. So how are you going to maintain it? And is that where you're hoping that partnership comes on board?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. As I said before, hoping that we get a partnership to come on board, and we all of us work full time. All of us
yeah,
have just as busy a life as what you do, Karen.
yeah,
And if we can
yeah,
have a larger partnership jump on board that we can still remain a part of,
yeah,
that would be fantastic.
yeah. And often it's just the kickstarting. The kickstarting is the hardest part of every bloody project. Ask me that. I know that 1,000 times over. It's that just getting that bloody first leg in the door and
We've
getting it
got
up
some,
and running.
that's right, yeah. And we've already got some runs on the board out in Gippsland. We're already known. The stickers are around. People I see on the street, hey, you're from the Wheelie Series project, and they know these things already. It's so fantastic to get that feedback.
Yeah.
Walking into a shop and the shop next door says, hang on, make sure you stop in here next. I've seen you. I know you. I want to be a part of this.
Wow.
So
How fantastic.
it's fantastic. And I really hope that we can get more on board and that someone would like to partnership with us and we can keep this going bigger and better than ever.
Yeah. So your ultimate vision, your ultimate goal, I know we've sort of said it in bits and pieces, but if you could imagine 5 years into the future because of your project, how would it look?
Thanks, Karen. That's
I
a really nice question, and I think we've all got varying degrees of how it will look, but it would be that people with any accessibility issues being able to get into all the shops that they want to get into. They don't need to ring ahead and say, are you accessibility friendly? They don't arrive at a hotel that says they're accessibility friendly and have 5 steps to conquer before they actually get to lift. So I think having everybody aware, having no one's judging, no one's being bitchy, like as you said before, no one's standing back and saying, no, I don't want to be a part of that. We're in this lovely, inclusive environment that we can all travel freely in and, live in harmony in that space.
Yep. Yep, and nobody's left out. I absolutely love that. It's where it's where we need to be as humanity. To be honest, that's where I just don't understand why we need to be cruel to each other, or or why we need to leave people out, or why I don't understand it. It's just anyway. I think that is absolutely beautiful. Now, where can people find you? I did say it before, but let's say it again. So, because I'd love people to send you a message. I know you're inundated, and you're probably up to your eyeballs in messages, but I think it's worth being up to your eyeballs for a little while we get all the shops on board with it. So.
Absolutely.
The best place, Facebook?
So Facebook is the best place. The Wheelie Serious Project, Wheelie with a Y. Yes, we are inundated with messages, but please send them through. That's absolutely no worries. Give us a holler, give us a shout out. We'll put you on our socials as well so that other people can see the positive stories that you've created in your workplace.
Yeah. And if people, you're doing Gippsland at the moment, but if someone from Brisbane rings you up and says, oh my God, I own a mall, and I've got 20 shops in here and I want them all done. Can we get on board? You're more than happy to send them up there and do that.
We, within, we need to have some discussions about that, but yeah, we could certainly.
I'm already making all the rules for you.
Yeah. Well, somebody, as I said, we're not compliance. We're not the compliance makers, but be nice to have some evidence that you are what you're saying. Yeah. But just getting in touch makes me think, well, you obviously, you're working within that space. So, yeah, let's chat.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. They might just do it and then not actually be complying or making changes. Yeah, so you'd have to have some checks and balances in place to make sure that people are not abusing the system. Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah,
but still, there's no reason people can't do that. And then send photos and send some testimonials or whatever they're going to do. But I think that's right. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Belinda, thank you so much for joining me, because this is the stuff that people need to hear. It really is. And there's two things I want to say. I always say that's two parts of this. One is that this is a fantastic project. People with disabilities need to be seen, they need to be heard, and they need to feel valued, and they are valuable citizens and value members of the community, and they need to be involved, and they need to be included. The other part to this is that there's a lot of people who have ideas and, think, oh, gee, I wish this and I wish that, and don't quite know how to start up a project, don't quite know what to do about it. Now, all you're doing, and let's tell me I'm not making this small by any means, because there's a lot of bloody backwork that goes in. But basically your idea was, let's put a sticker on windows, let's get people to raise awareness and put stickers on windows. That type of thing is something that anybody can do. You don't need to be in the disability space. You don't need to be like, if something's bugging you or if something really needs to be done, just anybody can start a project. And I just really want to encourage people to do community projects and just make the place we live a better place. So,
well, the power of socials in this space has been amazing.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, there's 5 of us in this syndicate. Only one of them was very good at socials. But now the rest of us, I can tell you how to get to a business page, and I can tell you how to get back to my personal page. I can write posts on both. I can tag people. It's been really good for us to be able to get into the tech world a little bit as well. I mean, we have the basics, but to be able to really zero in on this, it's great learning for all of us. We could feel a little bit more involved.
I absolutely love that. You don't curse Facebook like I do. Oh, damn it. Why does it make me switch? I hate that stuff. But anyway, well, I think this is absolutely fantastic, and the whole year for you is a beautiful growing opportunity anyway in
It really is.
so many ways. So I think this is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, and I really hope a lot more businesses reach out, and I would love to see many towns in Gippsland become completely disability friendly and well, wheelie friendly, let's say, but the whole lot.
The
So
whole
thank
lot,
you.
absolutely. Thank you, Karen. It's been lovely chatting.
Oh, you too. All right. Well, now you go and enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll chat to you soon. Thanks heaps,
I
Belinda.
will. Thanks,
See
Karen.
ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.